Welcome back, everyday nature watchers, and thank you for your subscription. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. So, today we're doing something slightly different. It's a little bittersweet, somewhat heartbreaking, but it's a story that needs to be told. And like any story, it starts with the beginning. With these three, actually. These reserved goslings. They actually just appeared on my verge one day, scrounging for anything they could find to eat, with no mommy and daddy in sight. It's quite confusing, but I tried to spend some time just checking on them, making sure they were well, making sure nothing was interfering with them. Sort of a caregiver. Slowly but surely, they decided they would trust me. And so they decided to wander a little bit closer, give me an opportunity to see if they were fine, maybe sprinkle some seeds, and gain some companionship. It was beautiful, but it was a slow ordeal. If you look closely, there are actually three goslings. The one is significantly larger than the other two, and I can safely presume that that's the male. It's actually my belief that this male came back with Mama Goose and his new babies, but I can't confirm that for sure. This actually happened when the world was going through quite a trying time, with nationwide lockdowns and the pandemic being rife. I was gifted and blessed to actually have an experience that's unrivaled. And I'm just choosing to share that with all of you. As you can see, they're venturing a little bit closer this time. Cautious, this little one is checking me out to make sure there's no risk if he walks past. And that's about as close as it got for a good few weeks. It does take a lot of patience. They are after wild geese anyway, so you don't really expect them to warm up immediately. They're not domesticated in the least. What I really liked about these three is that, fine, they weren't with mommy and daddy, but they were doing their own thing. They were looking for things to eat, they were checking up on each other, and they were even very careful about where they stepped and where they walked. And I thought that was pretty smart. Their foraging began to stay localized along my property verge, and I can safely say it was because they felt safer. I just love that little waddle. It's so cute. Quite a bit of eating obviously brings a lot of thirst from the looks of it. I think this is what I marveled most about these wild geese. The resilience. They didn't need anything. The only thing they wanted, they made a plan in order to get it. It is this sort of character trait that I absolutely adore in the Egyptian geese. Fearless and strength. It's amazing. And if you get close enough to them, you will absolutely see it. This is of course now a few weeks later, and you can see they've already warmed up. They're quite happy with us being really close to them, particularly me, who they've taken to quite strongly. They're still cautious, but they're a lot closer. And here we see their beautiful colorings. Some green downs, black, as well as the Egyptian geese brown. Stunning. This again is on my verge, which means they are staying localized to the area. And now we move on to the best part of it. When you raise, or when you are attempting to give care to wild animals, it takes pretty long. So this is a few months in. As you can see, they would just come to me even if I didn't have food. It was just companionship. They were extremely happy to see me, and for instance there you saw the male flapping his feathers as soon as he spotted me. It was very sweet. It was quite comical, considering they have wings. They would often get into the water and take ages to get to me when they could really just fly. And they would be cautious. For example, if there were 3 of them, they will all 3 come together. You wouldn't find just the one approaching and the 2 staying off. And I think that's really special, because they have a true bond between all of them. This is particularly sweet. We've got the male and the 2 females arriving for some treats. I thought it was quite cute because they would often walk around and try and find the best place for me to meet them near the river. And they would sort of say this to me by standing in the area. I was super excited when I saw that because it actually didn't happen before this day. And I realized that they were actually able now to fly as goslings. And they should be making their own way. And from where we came to where we are several weeks later, this is the most precious experience. It takes a lot of trust to build to this point, and I was just happy that they trusted me. And that is the 3 goslings I raised or helped caregive a few years back. I'm going to move over to my geese family of late because there have been some developments. Nature is what nature is. You can't control it. And I noticed more and more there were a lot of fights. There were a lot of couples coming into the area, and a lot of them going into territorial dog fights with the male. Here we see him flying out after one. Here we see their victory dance because they managed to get rid of another couple. And I want you to make particular awareness of the male actually turning around and coming towards me, because that's what he would do every time there was a victory lap. And of course they couldn't eat comfortably. They would always be shouting out to the sky. I did notice all of this, and I guess I knew the time was coming. They could no longer stay as a tight-knit group. They needed to leave. One particularly harrowing fight happened, and you can hear from her voice she's exhausted. And I suspect the male was hurt. He's very quiet. This broke my heart. It was also the final time that I saw them. It felt like they came to say goodbye. I've never seen them this quiet, ever. I gave them a little bit of food. I thanked them for their companionship. I wished them well. And I could see that they needed to find a new place. This was heart-wrenching, but this is what nature is, and we have to accept it. These are wild animals. They're not mine. They're not domesticated. They belong in the wild. So I had to, or rather I was forced to, part. I'm grateful that they gave me these last moments before they left.